Commander Zethka watched through the observation deck's reinforced transparasteel as another rescue beacon went dark on the tactical display. That made 17 teams lost to the verdant hell below in just the past cycle. The jungle moon of Kepler 442c had claimed more Galactic Survey Corps personnel than the last 3 war zones combined. "Sir?" Communications Officer Ilra turned from her console, her crystalline features reflecting the ominous red glow of failed mission markers. "The Hegemony Council is demanding answers. They're threatening to classify the entire system as a no-fly zone." Zethka's forearms crossed in frustration. The mineral deposits on Kepler 442c were too valuable to abandon. Rare Earth elements that could revolutionize faster than light travel. But every species they'd sent had met the same fate, consumed by the jungle's impossible ecosystem. The Veltar, with their natural armor plating, had lasted 6 hours before something dissolved them from the inside out. The gaseous nebulons had simply dispersed, their molecular bonds somehow unraveling in the dense atmosphere. Even the hardy Krextans, survivors of dozens of death worlds, had sent their last transmissions screaming about trees that moved and soil that breathed. "What about the human application?" Ilra asked hesitantly. Zethka's mandibles clicked in what his species considered laughter, though there was no humor in it. "One human, against a jungle that has killed hundreds of our best operatives." He paused, reviewing the file again. A park ranger from something called Earth's Amazon Basin. The human's credentials were modest. No military training, no advanced technology, no genetic modifications. Just experience with something called wilderness survival and a request for basic camping gear. The Galactic Survey Corps had initially rejected the application as either a joke or suicide attempt. But desperation made for strange decisions. 3 days later, Sarah Chen stepped off the transport shuttle and took her first breath of Kepler 442c's atmosphere. The air was thick, humid, and filled with the sounds of a billion unseen creatures. Alien pollen drifted like golden snow, and the canopy above writhed with movements that suggested predators the size of starships. Her equipment was embarrassingly primitive by galactic standards. A cloth backpack, metal canteen, fabric tent, and something called a machete. The orbital station's crew had watched in bewildered silence as she declined their offers of plasma weapons, environmental suits, and molecular scanners. "Just need to know where the mineral deposits are," she'd said with a grin that her briefers found unsettling. "I'll call when I find them." The first day, Zethka expected her beacon to fail like all the others. Instead, her position marker moved steadily through terrain that had swallowed entire platoons. Her vitals remained stable. Her communication stayed online. "Day 1, pretty standard rainforest," came her voice over the comm, tinged with static but remarkably calm. "Gravity's a bit heavy and some of the trees are definitely carnivorous, but nothing I haven't seen variations of back home. The pH-shifting soil is interesting. Reminds me of the boglands in Finland. Just have to watch where you step." By day 3, the orbital crew was glued to their monitors. Sarah had not only survived but was making steady progress toward the mining coordinates. Her reports were filled with observations that made the xenobiologists frantically take notes. "Found the first mineral vein today. Had to convince a pack of 6-legged bear things that I wasn't prey. Turns out they're just territorial. Remind me of grizzlies during salmon season. Made a lot of noise, established myself as the bigger threat, and they moved on. Also, the killer vines everyone warned me about. They're just responding to carbon dioxide output. Breathe shallow and move slow, and they ignore you completely." Zethka found himself taking personal interest in the human's progress. How was she doing what the galaxy's finest had failed to achieve? The answer came in fragments pieced together from her daily reports. Where other species had fought the jungle, Sarah worked with it. She read the ecosystem like others read star charts, understanding the relationships, the rhythms, the unspoken rules that governed survival in this green hell. When the crystalline wasps, which had liquefied an entire hegemony strike team, encountered her, she simply covered herself in mud from a specific type of flowering tree. The wasps' chemical sensors couldn't distinguish her from the local fauna. When the ground wraiths emerged from their mineral-rich caves, she recognized their behavior patterns from Earth's cave-dwelling predators and used controlled sounds to avoid their hunting paths. "Day 7, her voice crackled through the comm. "Reached the primary deposit site. You're going to love this. The entire mineral concentration is part of a symbiotic root system. The trees are literally growing these elements as part of their life cycle. We don't need to mine at all. We just need to figure out how to trade with them. Trade with them? Zethka's translator struggled with the concept. Oh yeah, they're definitely intelligent. Probably been watching all the previous teams and getting increasingly irritated at the invasion attempts. I left some gifts, samples of Earth music and mathematical sequences. This morning I found a perfectly geometric pile of rare Earth samples arranged in a prime number sequence. They want to negotiate. The implications hit the command crew like a plasma burst. The jungle wasn't just a hostile environment. It was a civilization. And somehow, one human with primitive equipment had managed first contact where hundreds of advanced operatives had failed. 3 weeks later, Sarah Chen walked back into the shuttle bay with signed trade agreements, detailed ecological surveys, and a small delegation of tree shepherds who were eager to establish cultural exchange with the wider galaxy. As Zethka watched her debrief the xenobiological team, still wearing her mud-stained clothes and carrying her primitive backpack, he finally understood what made humans so dangerous. It wasn't their technology or their physical capabilities. It was their absolute refusal to accept that anything was impossible. So, Sarah asked, pulling out a hand-drawn map, what's the next death world you need explored? I've got 2 weeks of leave time, and I hear Proxima B has some interesting cave systems. Zethka's mandibles clicked again, but this time with genuine appreciation. Perhaps it was time to update the Galactic Survey Corps recruitment protocols. And maybe, just maybe, they needed to start asking Earth for more park rangers. After all, if a human could turn a jungle that killed hundreds into a nice walk, what else might they accomplish?